here we go. Another edition of KnicksFanTV Live, presented by Manscaped. Knicks Weekly, the show where we recap the good, the bad, the ugly, the week that was for the orange and blue. If you're a diehard Knicks fan or if you're a big-time NBA fan, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. CP the Franchise here, Alex Rotaro, Stratocaster, JD Sports Talk. We in here. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. The Knicks go 2-1 over the week. The win over the Detroit Pistons. A tough loss against the Washington Wizards. Al, you call that one. And then the Christmas Day massacre over the Birds. Short-handed. We don't care. We have to take care of business. And yeah, man, 2-1 on the campaign. So let's recap this thing, fellas. Salute to Knicks Nation once again. Hope everybody had a great holiday, great Christmas as we close off the year. Last Knicks Weekly of the year. 2-1, fellas. Al, I'll start with you, man. What were your big takeaways from the week?
Biggest takeaway from some of the big takeaways from the week, Kemba Walker, man. Before I get into that, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody, absolutely. Happy New Year. So let me get all that off first to Knicks Nation. But biggest takeaways from the week, Kemba Walker for sure. From his start from the Boston Celtics, starting from that game, but then going down the line and really showing that can be that point guard that we're hoping for. The way he's been attacking the teeth of the defense, getting in there, getting those swing out passes, just making sure he's getting everybody involved. Being the playmaker that he is and the lethal scorer, and just his tenacity, man, just on offense overall. I think that has really opened up the game for everybody. You see Evan Fournier getting a little bit more comfortable. Julius Randle, I know we're going to discuss that, him and Kemba a little bit later, but those two together seem to be working. Him finding Mitchell Robinson and Obi Toppin. You know, you see that Kemba is really starting to help this team get into the groove, what we were all envisioning at the beginning of this season. And then I guess the other thing is that the other takeaway is we got to see Grimes again. Grimes is another guy. He comes back in. We saw him that 27-point performance. Comes back in, starts shooting again. Just has that nice, pretty jumper, being tenacious on defense. You know, he didn't shoot well against Atlanta, like just from numbers wise, but the fact that he still had to honor him, and they weren't even honoring him. They were even wide open for three. So that was a big takeaway, and he was just able to contribute in that way. And then you see all these guys slowly coming back. Obi Toppin looks like he hasn't missed a beat. I think overall is the biggest takeaway for me is that Kemba Walker, we're 2-2 with him back in the lineup, starting to get what we need out of our point guard situation. And hopefully it can just translate later down the line.
Yeah, well, and we'll see how that plays out, you know, over these next few games, man. JD, how about you?
I think, you know, the takeaway for me is, well, first it is a positive week from a record standpoint. You go 2-1, right? So you continue to multiply weeks. You keep going over 500. That record will ultimately show up, and you can, you know, be headed towards a solid season, a playoff push. Shout out to Alex. Alex predicted the 2-1 week and predicted the exact loss.
He did.
A wild loss. But I think, you know, as we move forward, it's just going to be, you know, at what point do the Knicks take off, right? Like, there's a lot of factors going on here. You have the health and safety protocols really hitting the league at this point. You have, you know, ups and downs with certain players. You have some consistencies. You have the topics of the young players in terms of when are they going to get their opportunities and how impactful will that be when that time comes. We're starting to see that now with Quentin Grimes. So I'm looking forward now, moving ahead into this week, although it is a road trip, to me is a very winnable road trip. So is this the point now in the season where the Knicks now start to, you know, pile up some wins and start to show a little bit more consistency? So you went 2-1, you had the disappointing Washington loss, but the last game is the important game, and that was the Hawks game. And so the way they play there, I'm hoping that they can carry it on into this road trip.
Yeah, good points. Definitely good points. And our Eastern Conference Player of the Week has to be our KnicksFanTV Player of the Week, and that is one Kemba Walker. 25 points per game over this 3-game stretch, 9 rebounds, 8 dimes, obviously coming off of the epic night at the Garden. Even though it was a loss, a 44-point outburst in front of his hometown crowd. I predicted that we would once see the Kemba game at least once this season, and that was a night, albeit in a loss. Would have loved to have gotten the victory there for him, but that's my major takeaway for the week. No doubt about it has been the play of Kemba Walker, the fact that he's just giving us what we need right now, and that is stability at the point guard position, scoring out of the point guard position. And it just seems like since he's come back in the Boston game, they've just gone to him and he's just been allowed to just be himself. And it just seemed like in the beginning, when he first got here, there was a lot of growing pains. There was a lot of adjustments. It just seems like he was referring a lot to Julius. Still trying to play off of Julius, trying to play off ball. And since he's come in against the Celtics on down, he's been dominating the ball a lot more. And we're 2-2, still a very early sample size, but from last year's playoffs all the way through, we've been looking for some sort of help for Julius Randle, someone to help get Randle shots in rhythm, someone that could, run the offense where we don't have to rely on Julius. We don't need that over dribbling, isolation plays all the time. And I think this is what Kemba's given us. He's given us a lot better balance in the offense. So that was definitely, my takeaway. And then secondly, with you, Al, is Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes, to me, has played himself into this rotation. There's no reason why he shouldn't be in this rotation going forward. You need his three-point shooting. I think he's still the best three-point shooter on the team, even though it's early. 15 points in the Christmas Day game, coming off of the 27-point outing against the Bucks. And that was, how many days in between was that? Because he went into COVID protocol right after that. So that was, 10 days? 10 or 11 days? Because he missed the Wizards game. Because, I think he said that he wasn't ready to play, conditioning, whatever. Comes back in Christmas Day, and he's right on the money. May not have been the most efficient, but his defense was in there, was on point, as it always is. His effort, his energy was on point, as it always is. And the three-point shot, his form is so pure. The quick release. I know a lot of people saying this H2O-esque. If you want to say whatever it is, I have confidence that the kid's going to knock it down, man, because his form is his rhythm and the muscle memory. It's so consistent. So to me, he has to factor into this rotation. The defensive deficiencies when you have a Walker, Fournier, and Randle, that has to be looked at. Especially when the offense isn't clicking, it seems like that's when the defense is at its worst. Because especially with Julius and Fournier, they let that dictate how they play defense and their energy and their attention to detail. So when I'm looking at that, and I'm ready, if I'm Tibbs, I'm ready to get Grimes in there immediately, and I'm not even playing around. And then to your point, JD, looking at the schedule ahead, we have the Wolves. We're in Detroit, in OKC, and then in Toronto. Now, I just turned on the Timberwolves game tonight. They had all 5 starters out on COVID protocol. I'm looking at Greg Monroe getting fed entry passes into the post. I was like, yo, what am I looking at here,
Towns
bro?
might be on the block tomorrow.
Yeah.
The way he's playing tonight.
I'm telling you, man. I'm looking at it. I'm like, yo, what am I looking at right now? So we don't know who's going to show up.
Seeing the resurrection of former players during this time now.
It's so interesting, man. Joe Johnson back, Greg Monroe. I'm just waiting for Beasley to get a chance, man. Beasley's been itching to get back in. I want to see Beasley back in there. But no, I say that to say, with the COVID protocol and just the uncertainty with that, as you said, JD, this could be a chance for us to get back into this thing, man, as we get our guys back.
Right. It looks like the Timberwolves may win tonight. Before tonight, they were 0-2 in the season without Karl Anthony Towns. And, I think that this could be a very winnable game, although they are second in the league in 3-point attempts. And they're shooting it at 34%. And defensively, they allow teams to shoot only 33% from three. That is sixth best in the league. So I'm looking at this game with or without Karl-Anthony Towns, and this could be the 3-point game in terms of which team launches more threes and makes more. Could be the team that wins this first game. And the first game of a road trip to me is especially when you're going against a West Coast team, it's always the most important game because it kind of sets the tone. It starts that rhythm, it starts that confidence. And so that's why I think this game is going to be very, very important. And, in terms of Grimes, I think Grimes, when you look at, putting it together with Kemba, Grimes, I think now playing with Kemba, playing more minutes, and I'm hoping that he plays a lot more with Kemba. Now the whole Kemba experiment maybe is not so bad as it was at the beginning because him with Fournier, it just puts too much pressure on both those guys to hit offensive shots, to be there offensively. And I mean, we saw a classic example in that Charlotte game where Kemba was going off and it didn't do anything for us because we were trading baskets. We saw it against, that Wizards game.
Yeah.
And so I think Grimes is such an important piece to this team because of the position that he plays, but also what he brings to the table. When you're looking at our two offseason acquisitions between Kemba and Fournier, Grimes being there in the middle could help Fournier get going, not have so much pressure. When we talk about hiding players, this is how you hide players.
Yeah.
It's not all scheme. It's also personnel.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people I know hold Tom Thibodeau very much accountable and deservedly so. But at the end of the day, in coaching, if you don't have the personnel, it makes it much harder to execute. Yeah, you can only do so much. So I think that Grimes could help sustain Kemba's performance. I will say this, though. The only concern I have, CP, is since Kemba has has come back to be a starter now, he's averaging 40 minutes per game. And so, as we move forward, how sustainable is this? Will he have a setback? Is it time to kind of dial it back? You're riding this wave, and I know he had some time off, but at the same time, the health issue is still there. So this is something that I'm going to, keep a close eye. And when we have that, I mean, I do believe we have a back-to-back during this road trip, do we, right? We have a back-to-back. Yes, we have a back-to-back. We played the Timberwolves and then a back-to-back against Detroit. So what is this going to look like?
Yeah.
McBride is not here. So, maybe quickly. So this is going to be an interesting road trip because he's averaging 40 minutes last 4 games. And now we have this back-to-back. How is Tibbs going to manage this is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, Al, I think that they will, I don't think he'll play in that back-to-back. You should have Quickly coming back by tomorrow. McBride didn't make the trip to Minnesota. Does he make it to Detroit? He should be coming out shortly. I'm not sure where he is along the timeline. But I got to factor, those guys have to factor in, Quickly, extended minutes at the point. Burks, obviously, extended minutes at the point. And then, you slide in McBride on the games that Kemba's not going to play. So here it is where our depth is going to come into play here with 2 rookies, 2 guys that can shoot the ball extremely well and play defense. Get our defense, bring our energy, bring that intensity that we so desperately need on this team, man. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing about depth. We've been asking Tibbs to use the depth this entire season, right?
Yeah.
And now we're getting to that point where we get to do so. I think, though, one question I have for you guys, because when we look at this roster, right, and we know Tibbs likes to go with a 10-man rotation traditionally. We have Kemba Walker. We're going to have Evan Fournier. We're going to have RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and now Mitchell Robinson. You're going to then, off the bench, once everybody's back, you have Quickly. You're going to have Alec Burks, Obi Toppin, Taj Gibson, or Jericho Sims, whoever you want to throw at center. That leaves one more spot. So is it going to be Quentin Grimes? Is it going to be Deuce McBride? I wrote for KnicksFanTV thinking that it's going to be Deuce McBride because I think you're going to want the playmaking. And I like what I saw with him and Quickly. I like giving Quickly more of that off-ball capability. Him and Deuce both work well off-ball and on-ball. And so that's why I think for those two, it makes more sense. Also, you get the playmaking that Deuce gives. You saw that connection. Like, he can be that connector that we keep talking about, that we see Lonzo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, where he'll get the ball from somebody and then quickly swing it out And, check that arc like I showed where he got it from Burks, quickly passed it to IQ. IQ does a sidestep 3-pointer and knocks it all down. Yeah. So I think I can make the case for Deuce, but I can also make the case for Grimes to get in there too, because we need that defense and we need that perimeter shooting. Yeah, it's so tough, man. Tibbs really got. This is going to be a monster to challenge, man, because yes, you got the back-to-backs, as JD pointed out, right? And we're going to have Deuce McBride come in, hopefully for those nights, and give Kemba that rest. But who do you ultimately go with? Do you want that 3-and-D wing? Do you want another guard to help with playmaking? And who also offers some shooting as well and gives you like full court pressing D. Like both of them offer you defense. Both of them offer shooting. The only difference is that do you want playmaking or do you want a true traditional 3-and-D guy that doesn't need the ball in his hand and can just roam the court?
I think you go if I'm Tibbs, I think he's gonna lean Grimes first because you already have playmaking in IQ and Burks off the bench. And a little bit of defense, plus defenders. Maybe not as strong as McBride, but with Grimes, I can go. If RJ's off on the shooting night, I could go Grimes. If Fournier's off and he's not playing defense, I can go Grimes. We sorely need. That's the thing. We don't have the depth at the wing defensively as we do offensively and defensively at the guard position. You know what I mean? Especially with Burks and IQ there. That's why I think he leans on. I think he goes Grimes before McBride. Until we get to that point where Kemba can't play, then I think both will play.
Okay, JD, what are your thoughts?
I mean, for me, I'm at a point where because IQ has actually, in some sense, you can say he's becoming an underrated defender because he's shown a lot of improvement in my eyes with his defensive energy and even his defensive just technique has improved a lot. I'm no longer afraid to play a little bit small and play him with McBride and have a McBride IQ backcourt. Not to start, but I'm saying at times during the game, I'm not afraid to do that. So in other words, I'm looking at any way to play both of them. I guess if you want to talk semi-realistically, you're talking about maybe Alec Burks being the odd man out. If Kemba is here for the long run, is Alec Burks the odd man out? I think on personnel, I'd rather it be Fournier. But you have the politics of the contract. So he wins out there. And Fournier to me is like the Elfrid Payton situation in the sense that whenever he has a decent game, that's going to buy him 10 more. That's right. Every time, how many times did we see it last year, right? Every time we thought we were going to get the change, Elfrid Payton came out, had an 18-point game with like 8 rebounds and 6 assists. Yeah. And that bought him another 10 games and he threw another 10 stinkers. So I think Fournier is in that similar situation where whenever he shows flashes, that's another 5 more games you're going to keep starting. So to me, I'm looking at any way to get both of them playing because I just really believe that defense that they bring, man, is NBA ready. Yeah. I don't want to hear this rookie stuff, rookie wall. Like these guys are smart defenders. They can defend guys now. And so I'm looking to, if you really want to turn the season around and make a play, you're only 2 games back of the 6th seed. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the East, but there's also a lot of parity, which means that any team that gets hot at the right time, you can definitely make some noise. So
big time.
I think we're going to see that a little bit later in the season. But for now, listen, man, I'm not waiting. That's just my mentality towards it.
Let me start the phones up real quick, Al. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. This is another episode of Knicks Weekly presented by Manscaped. What do you guys think, man? Give us some reactions on the week that was for the Knicks. Where are you guys going based on Alex's question? If Tibbs is going 10-man rotation, who gets that spot? Which one of the rookies? Is it McBride? Is it Quentin Grimes? Leave us a comment in the chat. I want to salute the rhyme animal Chuck D. Everybody throw a hashtag PE in the chat. Chuck throws a $10 super chat in the mix. He says the entire NBA is shaky, but we can't afford no effort or no continuity or ego hero point forward ball. Like Julius, we don't need that, man. 3 seconds or less, Julius. Tibbs must expand the rotation to 12 or else he will blaze our roster into injury. Yeah, I don't know, Chuck, man. I think it's going to be 10 max. I think it'll likely be 9 on most nights, but 10 will be max for Tibbs with this rotation. And we'll just have to take it from there. Knock on wood, nobody gets hurt.
I'll say this. It's good. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see because I know we like to say a lot, Tibbs ain't going to do this. He's going to do that. But I'm still a little mildly surprised that Grimes was that first guy off the bench over Burks and that he hit the 25, 26-minute mark right off the bat. He took a day to get ready because of conditioning. He came back. Like, that still kind of surprised me. So maybe, and it's a weird thing because Tibbs is the defensive coach. And it was reported that these are guys that Tibbs approved, which makes sense because of their skill set. Yeah. So it's hard for me to believe that it's just an old school mentality of, it's an 82 game season. Sit down to 20, 25 games. We have a lot of veterans. We'll ease you in. Maybe it's that old school type of way of easing a rookie into a season. Maybe it's politics. I don't know. But in terms of when people say that Tibbs doesn't know, Tibbs knows what these guys bring. He knows that these guys are gritty players. No question. So maybe this is a little bit of a turnaround period where he's going to start to give these guys more minutes. Because like I said, he needs to if they want to, get going here defensively.
Yo, I agree with you, JD. I mean, we can go back to last season, right? Once they got Derrick Rose, they still had Austin Rivers on the team. They could have easily said quickly, nah, we're going to go veteran heavy and go Austin Rivers. He didn't. And look, even this season alone against Houston, Kemba didn't come back. He gave the keys to Deuce McBride to run the second half once D Rose went out. So Tibbs, I know we get on Tibbs saying he doesn't like to play the kids, but he will play. He knows what he sees.
He knows what he has.
Yeah, I think it's partially to what you're saying, though, JD, like that old school mentality of easing them in. But he knows what he has. I think there's also a little bit of the politics that you talk about, like Evan Fournier. I think even Tibbs, because we've seen Tibbs on TV yell out Evan Fournier and just say, I think he wants to have Grimes or somebody else in there because he knows he needs that defense. But because of that contract, as you said, JD, that's the politics. He's going to get it. I would you even mentioned Alec Burks. I don't even want to. I like Alec Burks more than Fournier. He's our best ISO scorer. We need a guy like that. Evan Fournier, he can be hot one day and then cold the next 7 games. So true story. I agree with you. But
this is where the politics falls into it. Someone in the chat says, so then why is Obi getting 12 minutes a game? Listen, and can nobody convince me that Obi was a Tibbs guy? So to me, it is. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think Obi is just a Tibbs type player, and that whole Julius Obi thing is going to be, I think, a topic of conversation until something is figured out. Whether they pivot and they go small and start giving Obi 20 to 30 minutes, or whether they make a decision on who they want to invest in the future. Until then, to me, I see Tibbs favoring Randall more because to me it seems like he is more connected to Randall than he is to Obi, but that's just me.
The Obi thing's interesting. I think it's also interesting with Noel out during this stretch. Will Tibbs try to go that route again? Will we see more Julius and Obi tandem? I just want to see this kid playing so much more, man. You know what I mean? I just want to see Obi in this
another
game,
takeaway. The takeaway that I was going to have, which connects with your comment about Obi and will he play minutes? I don't know, because one of the positives to me this week was Mitchell Robinson quietly. He averaged almost 10 rebounds this week. He had that 17 and 14 game against the Pistons. He played well against Clint Capella. Even though Capella was coming back off health and safety protocol, he still was able to neutralize him in the paint. So, and then on top of that, you can kind of noticeably see now Mitchell Robinson is actually losing weight. He looks a little lighter on TV.
He looks better.
To me.
He looks a lot better, bro.
He looks a little spry. He's blocking perimeter shots now again.
Yeah.
So
he looks better, bro.
And Tibbs gave him the nod at he started a half. I don't know if it was, I forgot what game. He started the second half of the game, and since he's been the starter, I think he'll continue to be the starter. Yeah. What does that mean for Obi's minutes at center too? Because, Tibbs at the end of the day, whatever they have, between them behind closed doors, may, true or not true, at the end of the day, Mitch is a rim protector and Tibbs is always going to favor that defensively.
Right.
So that's why I always say this Obi conundrum is just going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
I think Mitch has been on an upward tick since that Houston game, man. Mitch has been playing well, and he seems a lot more confident. He's moving a lot better. battled, had some good battles this week. He went up against Gafford in the Wizards game, dominated the Pistons. He had Cade scared to come inside. And, that Hawks game, I thought he made his presence felt as well, man. So, yeah, good point. I thought Mitch had a good week for sure.
Absolutely. And even showed some stuff against Boston, too. Like, you saw a little bit up against that game. So, Mitch is coming on strong. We need him. We're going to need him because he's, our best center that we have, especially when it comes to rim protection, being agile, defending the pick and roll. And to JD's point, he does look like he lost weight. He looks a little bit more mobile than he has been at the beginning of the season. Maybe he also got the right shoes, too. His foot's feeling a lot better. Who knows, man? We just need Mitch a lot because he's the guy who's really going to help this team take it defensively to another level. He's got to be the quarterback of the defense. He's got to call out the rotations, got to make sure everyone's coming. And he's got to be learning that from Taj because when Taj is on the court, that's what Taj is doing. He's keeping that second unit on a string whenever he's in there. So as long as Mitch is able to do that, protect the rim, and then as you see, like having Kemba Walker back in here, it opens up the game for Mitch too. You're starting to see the lob threats. Yep. You're starting to see him get all those buckets that he was missing too, because instead of just running it through Julius, who just clogs up the paint, now you actually have to worry, okay, is Kemba's going to take that 3-pointer? Is he going to drive? And if he's driving, you still have to honor him. He's not finishing well at the rim. He's around 40%. He's still on the low end of percentile. I think he's under 20 in the 20th percentile, maybe even lower than that. But still, because of his name, you have to give him that honor because he is a crafty finisher back in his days with the Hornets. So when he goes in there, you don't know if he's going to go up. And if he doesn't, he's going to get it to Mitch. And Mitch gets those easy lobs. So Mitch is coming on strong. We're going to need him, man. We're going to need him for sure.
Good points. Let's get to the phones. Let's start with Dan from New Jersey, checking in from DR. Dan, what's going on, man? Hold up. Let me get Dan in here. All right, Dan, you live and direct. Dan, what's going on? Just go ahead and unmute your mic, bro. All right, keep losing Dan on the Discord. Hang on. All right, Dan, can you hear us now? You good now, right?
I'm good now.
Yeah, all right. Yep, let's go.
Pero que estamos en el patio, ya tú sabes.
Let's go.
DR.
Repping.
Man, I'm telling you. I wish Ash was here today because I was trying to call in the other day. Because I remember I said to you guys, I love Kemba Walker as a player. I love him in the league. And I said I didn't think that he was a right fit for the team because I just said, basically my thinking was, Kemba Walker just doesn't belong on this team, particularly because of fit. And I remember Ash said, that's kind of like saying, oh, the Knicks are too good for Kemba Walker. But no, I'm saying the Knicks aren't good enough on defense to hide Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker deserves to be on an NBA team that can hide him defensively, on an NBA team that could actually, use him the way that he's supposed to be used. Because now I think that's changed a little bit now that Rose has gone out for 8 weeks. I think he can now fill out that Derrick Rose role for us, but not in the starting lineup rather than the bench. Because my thing, man, I'm a Deuce guy. I don't want to ice Deuce out of the lineup and send him back down to the G League. I think he's ready for some minutes. He looked like a quarterback out there the other day. He was just dropping dimes, making the simple pass, easy, simple plays. But he's just so smart, and he's a good pull-up shooter. I want to see Deuce out there because he's a plus on defense. We need defense. We can't have Julius, we can't have Fournier, and we can't have Kemba out there on the defensive end and expect to play good against teams that aren't the College Park Skyhawks. But that's all I wanted to say on that. I just wanted to clear that point. I love Mitch. I need to buy a Mitch Please shirt. If y'all still got those, if we re-sign them.
We just got some new. We just got some new ones in stock, man. I just launched the new Mitch Please 2022 edition, so it's up there on the KnicksFanTV merch store, man. Definitely check that out.
Yes, sir. I'm not a copy of some of those, man. I love Mitch, man. I'm a blockness hype. I always thought he's a great defender. He's very mobile. He's getting even more mobile now that he's getting, his cardio back. But, I don't know why everybody's always been slandering him. He was never an offensive guy. He was never supposed to be more than a lob threat on offense. His potential was always on defense and what he could do there.
Yeah.
I really think we could get him for the cheap. A 9 year, 3-year option, like something like that. 3 year 27, 3 year 30 million. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and appreciate the call. Your audio was kind of fading out, but yeah, we'll see what happens when the Knicks and Mitch come to the negotiating table. Let's hope for some consistency and some durability from here on out. I think the interesting thing with McBride, even though I don't think his time in terms of full-time minutes will be this year, unless barring injury. Going into the offseason, when you still have 2 more years with Rose, 1 more guaranteed year with Kemba, and he still got.
I ain't trying to hear that, man.
It's gonna be, hey,
not trying to.
Hey, I'm just putting it out there, man. I'm just putting it out there. They got to make some decisions. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have to make some decisions. That's all I'm saying.
That's why I think this whole Kemba thing is interesting, because there's people out there that are rooting for Kemba, but they're kind of bummed out because they're like, man, that's
set
cool.
McBride back,
you cook it, but man, McBride was just about to get this, these minutes, and now you want to go off like that. Like I rock with you from the Bronx, like we love you, Kemba, but man, we were ready to see McBride back, bro.
That just set McBride high back, bro.
It goes to show you the personality of the city, man. Like, this city is just always going to gravitate to grit and defense. And when we talk about people like Dame, that's why people like Dame to me are not fits here, because that's all good when you see the highlights. But once Dame comes here, goes 5 for 15, and he's getting cooked on defense, it's going to be another Kemba situation. You know what I mean? So McBride he's going to be a fan favorite here. And I get what and that was actually going to be a question of mine is, do you guys think that this play has changed anything in the front office in terms of looking to get him into another situation like soon or by the deadline?
Kemba?
Because obviously, he was out of the rotation. So you got to believe it was an Austin Rivers type situation. They're looking for somewhere. Do you think this has changed anything in terms of their approach, or do you think they'll still look to move him, by the deadline?
Not unless. See, with the Rose injury, it changes things. I don't think they'll be so active in trade talks unless the whole thing is just going south. You know what I'm saying? Between now and February, they just lose like 15 out of the next 20 or something, and they're really out of it, and they look to be sellers. But I don't see them, with the way lately how he's playing and the chemistry starting to pick up. At least it looks so. I don't think they do it, bro.
Yeah, I think it's tough. One, to CP's point, like unless it's going completely south, then I could see them selling off. But if he's playing well, you're going to stay around. You talk about Derrick Rose, who's out for 8 weeks. That's past the trade deadline too. And we already saw what COVID already can do to this league and just have you just bone dry with your roster. So I also think the teams also think about depth. I don't think they're going to be quick to get rid of their depth as well. And, Tibbs loves having a veteran point guard. And we don't even know if Derrick Rose is going to be ready in 8 to 10 weeks. Like they say he's going to be reevaluated. That doesn't mean he'll be ready to go in 8 weeks. So you could say earliest March. And then if the season ends in April, is he even going to be back in March to get ready for April, or is he going to have enough run? If we are in playoff talks at that point, does it even make sense to even bring him back? What's his conditioning going to be like? How's that ankle going to be holding up? I think it's tough. I think it's really tough to see Kemba being moved, unless, as CP said, that this team's just going drastically south, and that you're like, all right, just play the young guys, get him some minutes. Yeah. But I'm JD. You're talking about guys who are rooting for Kemba and were upset because you want to see. That's me, man. Like that's me right there. I was ready for Deuce to come in, just hoop, and then it's like, oh man, I love Kemba, man. BX pride all day. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
I see. You see, I'm the type of guy that if you believe in something, you go ahead and do it. In other words, sometimes these are situations that make or break a front office. And it's interesting, the dynamics, because as CP was saying, his recent play could have changed things with the Rose injury. But to me, if you believe that this is not a fit and you think what's best for the team is to go to McBride and to go to IQ, whatever he's doing now, to me, is not going to change my opinion. And that's just how I think a front office should operate. We see too many times in sports, a front office allows, a few games or a small sample size to change their mindset and their thinking, and that derails their tenure for whatever organization that they're hired in. Yeah. So to me, it's like a quarterback. If you believe a quarterback's ready, you throw him out there. You don't delay the process because, a stopgap is playing well. So, I mean, that's just how I think a front office should operate. But we'll see what they're thinking because, as we move on, everything is gonna, play out.
Let's get back to the Discord. Michael up next. Michael, what's good?
Hey, man. Hope y'all have a happy new year, man.
Yeah, man. You too, bro.
Christmas was good, man. Salute CP, Alex, JD, man. With this Kemba thing, it's like, I don't think that trading Kemba, like, it'll make McBride play more. But, like, I think the real, like, answer, if you do want to keep, because the only reason I want to keep Kemba is because he is the only, like, leader I trust to make, like, the chemistry good. Because you will see in the game after the talk, or like, you see during the games where Kemba is in his bag, you see him, like, basically just being, like, the leader. You won't see Randall being the leader. We're 2-1 because Kemba is the leader. And I think, I know politics, but you gotta get Evan Rivers, Evan Fournier out. You gotta get Evan Payton out. You gotta get him out. You gotta get him out.
Let's
It'll
go.
make McBride play. It'll make Grimes play. I don't know why you sign him anyway. You gotta get him out.
Let's go, Michael. Talk to him.
In the offseason, they wanted Chris Duarte. Why would you sign Evan Fournier if you were trying to get Chris Duarte, like a shooting guard small forward? What was the point in signing Evan Fournier? If you were trying to get Chris Duarte or someone like that in the draft who could take Evan Fournier's position. Burks is better than Fournier. Even Dotson's better than Fournier the way Fournier's playing. Come on, man.
Michael, on point.
Kemba's on his team, and I want Kemba on his team is because he's a leader. That's the only reason.
That's fair. That's fair points.
Fournier needs to go. At least Fournier, man. Fournier, and then Kemba, and then if Reynolds play steps up, maybe you keep him. I don't know, but Reynolds a different story. We don't need ISO Reynolds. We don't need that.
We don't need that.
It's Fournier to get out of here. I don't care about politics. I said James Dolan cupcake. You better trade him right now, man. I swear. And I think we trade Fournier. The season is saved. You play the young kids more, and you build up this team the way it should be built until you get, or until your youngins or all-stars or borderline all-stars, so you have multiple people who you can rely on. That's why Fournier should be traded first before Kemba, and Kemba should stay until, like, unless we get, like, Miles Turner trade.
Okay.
And then you can put him in. But Fournier, you need out. I don't care about politics. I don't care. You trade him. You send a message. No doubt. You said you don't play good at 79 million French baguette with his non-hairline. You don't play good. You
Michael's
get out of
going
York. Let's go, man.
Let's go. Michael, Michael, since Michael came out of the protocol, he been laying bars, bro. Bars.
Man's having like a rookie career like Luka Doncic.
I'm telling you, man.
Close to like MVP
levels, man. Michael is sparing no one. Get right or get out. I would say I'm not ready to trade Fournier yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not ready to trade him. But like I said, he's going to stay in the starting lineup for right now. It's quick hook. If you playing the Matador tonight and you building a brick house, I'm going right to Grimes, no problem. I'm going right to Burks, no problem. And we'll come back to you and see if you get right in later in the second quarter and the third quarter. No problem.
You're not ready to trade him?
Yeah, I was about to say, you said Matador defense. You're not ready to trade him.
I'm like, wait.
Put him on the bench.
You're not ready to trade
You put him on the bench. I want that depth. I want that shooting. I think it still can serve a purpose against lesser competition, against bench players. Mm-hmm. All right? And with that second unit. But I still want the shooting. Don't get me wrong. I still want the shooting. Right now, you're going to trade him. You're trading low right now. What are you getting back from him that's going to help your team right this second? You know what I'm saying? If anything, I'm bringing him off the bench.
It's a good point. I think it's just I agree with that. I'd rather have Fournier come off the bench than be in the starting rotation because he offers very little defense. Right. And I'd rather have Grimes in the starting unit over Fournier. But putting I know everyone looks at the 4 years, $72 million or whatever it is, but it's really like 3 years, 54.
Yeah.
Like I look at that and I'm like, you really want to put that on the bench? Like, can you even put that on the bench? Like, personally, it shouldn't matter, but it is going to matter because of that contract. And if you're going to try to trade him, at least, you got to at least have him in that starting rotation, like to just to build up that value to show that he can do something. Unfortunately,
right. That's what I'm saying. What are you getting back right now? What are you getting back that can help you? What are you talking? 2 second-round picks or something like that, and some salary trade filler? That's not worth it for me, bro. He can still shoot the ball. Let's not act like he can't shoot. All right? He can still do that. I'm bringing him off the bench. I make him situational in the fourth quarter. I don't have to close with him. I got Mr. Fourth Quarter, Alec Burks on the bench. I got IQ. I got McBride. I got Grimes. I got people I can trust. I don't have to close with Fournier. I don't have to close with RJ if you don't got it going. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to win games. But I'm not trying to sell low on these guys though. I wouldn't do that.
And salary wise, I mean, you're looking at maybe him and just Burks as two pieces that you can use in, a decent trade for a decent player. Burks is making around 9-10 million and Fournier 17, but you have Rose. I don't think the Knicks would look to trade Rose, and Kemba's only at 8. And when people bring up packaging Burks with Noel, I mean, when you're the other team, you probably want draft picks if you're trying to squeeze in Noel in the trade. So even from a trade perspective, that's why I was saying Fournier, because when you're looking at these salaries and you're looking at who you could try to get, you got to match salaries as well. So he could be a piece that could be used. But if you're going to keep him from a personnel standpoint, as you mentioned, that's probably his best spot with this roster is coming off the bench.
I mean, if the Knicks really wanted to move Fournier, they could do what they did to like Austin Rivers last season. You can move him for bench end guys, fill up the salary, and then waive those guys or keep one of those guys and get some draft picks in return, like second rounders, like they did last season. That's selling super low on Fournier. Yeah, but that it's not like if you really want to get rid of a guy if you don't think he's fitting well. But to CP's point, I'd rather build up the value and move him for something else in a better deal. And I think that is possible. Like I look at the Magic, if the Celtics were willing to buy, like we see teams willing to buy other people's contracts. Look, we even seen John Wall move from the Wizards to Houston. Yeah. Even though it's for Russell Westbrook. And then we see Russell Westbrook get moved again for a $41 million contract. And look what he's doing with the Los Angeles Lakers. So true. That's a $41 million contract. So guys can get moved around this league. No one, very rarely is anyone going to go through free agency at this point. It's all about trading and having the contracts to trade.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. If someone's offering me 2 second rounders for 48 and that's it, and they're gonna take the contract, I might do it. CP.
You're bugging. You're bugging.
What do you mean I'm bugging?
We got more than enough draft picks, man. What do we got more? What are we doing? That's throwaway, man.
We're this is what we're doing. We're getting rid of a bad signing.
You bugging.
And that's it. No salary. And then now you can play Grimes those 30-something minutes.
You can still do that. RJ. You can still do that. You put him on the bench. I'm not gonna give him away for 2 second round picks, man. That's absolutely nothing. You get nothing back on that.
I don't think you get anything for him right now. So
that's what I mean.
I'm looking at the value is getting rid of the contract. That's an asset in itself.
Sure, but I think it's even more of an asset next year too. When it's a year off.
I think sometimes it could be a bigger challenge getting rid of that contract than it is to just even get picks, any picks, even if it's second round.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it could be difficult to get rid of that contract than it is to find a team that could take it for just 2 second round picks. So to me, that's actually, if that's a bigger challenge, I might actually entertain that because you have enough young players here that I know I get it. But to me, is the shooting that elite to where it can overcome the slow speed, the defense?
I think it can. I think it can. You know what I'm saying? I think if you put him in the right situation, you put him on the bench, you have him running with that second unit, I think it can. I don't see what the point would be to trade him just for the sake of trading him to get the salary off the books. Like the salary's not even right now. I mean, look at the future free agent classes. These next 1 or 2. I mean, I don't see it.
Everyone signed up for the next 1 or 2 seasons.
You think he's more valuable?
I think he's more valuable on the team than trading him for 2 second round picks.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think his contract is better than Davis Bertans? Bertans got paid $80-some-odd million. He's playing 16 million. He's playing only 16 minutes per game this season. 23 games so far.
And he's been terrible. I remember I wanted
Bertans and he hasn't shot the same since he signed that contract.
Yeah,
because the thing is, to me, once you decide to bench Fournier, that's already an indictment on the move and the contract.
So you know what I mean? So what? Trading them for 2 second-round picks? Is it?
But that's the whole point. It's like if you're gonna decide to bench him, right? To me, as a front office, you are saying this did not work out. So if someone then goes around and says, you know what, I'll take that contract, take 2 second-round picks. I'm driving him to the airport.
But what are you doing with those? What are you doing with those second-round picks?
That doesn't matter. I'm not.
What are you, and what are you bringing back? What are you bringing back?
The second round picks to me are irrelevant. I'm looking at the getting rid of the contract.
Like, but how are you getting rid of the contract though?
Well, the situation we're discussing is that you're going to get 2 second round picks, and someone's just going to take them.
Well, who's got the salary to take that? Who has the cap space to take that?
That's what we bet.
That's the whole thing, is that you would get 2, like it would be like Austin Rivers, where you get 2 like inconsequential players that you could just waive, cut. So you're essentially taking whoever fills up that salary and just taking 2 second rounders. And honestly, like if you're taking, depending on the 2 second rounders, if it's a double draft, that could be valuable, and someone could easily.
I'm not doing that, man. You guys are selling way too low on this guy right now, man. Way too low,
bro. He's 29. He's gonna be 30.
You guys are selling way too low.
If you're gonna bench a 30-year-old player who is slow, is not going to get faster, I don't see how his value goes higher than a second-round pick.
You guys are selling way too low on this guy, man.
Look, unless you're putting him a part of a big Ben Simmons or Dame Lillard type package deal, he's only going to be a part of that deal because of salary. It's not going to be because he's good or because the team values him.
You guys are bugging. They're trying to win games, man. They're trying to win games. They are not rebuilding. See, I'm back on my CAA TV. I'm back on my CAA TV. I'm on it right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm with Leon. I'm calling Wes. I'm like, yo, what are you guys trying to do? They're trying to win games. They're not gonna give up on their investment that quickly. Because like I said, when you make those decisions, the owner's saying these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. They're wasting my money, and it's time for them to go.
But I just personally believe this specific player, the theory is correct. They're trying to win games.
Yeah.
And usually when you make that investment, you want that player to be part of your whole scheme to win games. But this specific player for this team and this roster and this personnel, other than shooting, I don't see where he impacts this whole they're trying to win games type of story. I don't see how he impacts it that much. And if you're going to have him off the bench to come in and shoot, then it's like, is it really worth it? You're bringing him off the bench just to shoot? Like, we can't get that from Grimes. We can't get that from McBride. We can't get that from IQ. We can't get that from Alec Burks.
You can get that from those guys. You can get it from those guys, but you have depth.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think subtracting Fournier means anything. Like, I don't think it just pivots that you're not trying to win games. Maybe you are trying to win games because you're trying to improve the fit on this team. You're trying to improve the chemistry.
Right, but that's why you put him on the bench.
I mean, listen, if somebody's a bad fit, starting, bench, it's a bad fit to me. You know, like he's playing with completely different
personnel. He's playing with a completely different personnel, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's go. Oh, one quick thing. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Tomorrow night we are in Minnesota, Knicks versus Timberwolves, but January 18th we are at home against the Timberwolves, and that is the next KnicksFanTV event. The Tradacaster said he's going to try to be in the building. JD says he's going to be in the building. I'll be there. My girl's Knicks Omni fan. This is going to be, we have 2 suites at Madison Square Garden up on the Chase Bridge, 2 lounges. It's going to come with tickets to the game, access to the pregame shoot-around, access to post-game. We're going to take a group photo on the court of Madison Square Garden after the game. You're going to get a chance, a meet and greet with a Knicks legend. Could be Starks, could be Sprewell. You get a chance to take a picture with them as well. Free food, free soda, and we'll also be doing trivia, giveaway, and prizes as well. So it's a great deal. Make sure you guys tune in for that. And I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now to this event, and that is January 18th, man. I know a lot of people have already gotten their tickets, so make sure you guys do that.
And if you want to hear us argue about Evan Fournier and his value in person, we'll do it there too.
Let's go. Let's go. All right. Salute to Russell Whiskey, $2 super chat. He says, I want a CATV snapback. Jeremy Maynard's for $10 super chat. He says, to be honest, Grimes and Knox are more trustworthy than Fournier right now, but the season is not over and he realistically can improve. Shahid, $20 Canadian super chat. Says, PCL, what's the panel's take on IQ long-term future here? Where do we see him in 2 years? Perennial bench or starter? Kemba is in his Santa bag, and Randall gets way too much heat. Love y'all boys. Hashtag once a Knick, always a Knick. IQ's future in the next 2 years. What do you guys think? Al, what do you think?
Man, that's tough, man.
Yeah.
That's, and by the second year, hopefully he can be a starter. Hopefully you can have him in that starting rotation as at the shooting guard or point guard, one of those two positions. Mm-hmm. That's my goal for Immanuel Quickley. But if he's trending in the right direction, he could be like even just a high-end bench player, like a true six man at that point. Yeah. That's still like good progress for him too. And then to, year 5, be a good starter. That's as long as we're seeing him trending up. But I see him as, that as of right now, he's showing that he's improved his handle. He's working on getting into the teeth of the defense. You see that his defense is really good. Mm-hmm. It's improved since last season. His decision-making is still a work in progress. He's still trying to figure out that balance from when to be the attacker and when to be the playmaker. So once he can get that down, I think then we can get a more clear picture of who Immanuel Quickley is. But for the future, I hope that he can be in the starting rotation as like a secondary creator playing at the shooting guard position, or he's either a high-end six-man at that point. That's my hope for him. With a good trajectory, just so not capping him, but the trajectory is in that direction.
Yeah, I think, look, either way, whether he projects to be a starter or a six-man, I think he could fill a valuable role for us. He could still be a guy that can close. And, even though the shot's been up and down this year, you're seeing improvements from a playmaking standpoint. You're seeing improvements from a defensive standpoint. I think with me, for IQ, it's going to be who he's going to be paired up with. Is it going to be with a McBride? Is it going to be with a Rose in the near term and McBride in the future, someone who will allow him to play off ball a little bit more, even though his playmaking potential is there. Ideally, his strength is still playing off the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think either way, They got to keep him. I like IQ's fit here with this team, whether it's starter off the bench, on ball, off ball. I think he's going to continue to grow into a good player for us.
For me, 2 years, I'm looking at just can he develop into, before I look at him into any type of starting role or future this, future that, I think the first thing he needs to do is become more of a lethal elite shooter. We see the flashes, we see the streaks. But can he become that knockdown shooter, that consistent shooter? I think that's the next step for him. Mm-hmm. And then when he gets to that point, we'll see what that means for his overall play on the court. And that's how I'm looking at it. I think fans ask themselves that. They see these games where he goes off, and then they see games where he's like open for these wide open shots. And you're like, man, like, come on, quickly like that. You should be able to hit those shots. So Can he develop that consistency? I think for me is where I'm looking at. But however, when you look at, being aggressive in trade markets, we hear about the Miles Turner rumors. We hear about this, we hear about that. And you really start to pick and choose these pieces. To me, Quickley is one of those pieces that I wouldn't be surprised could be part of a trade package here within the next 2 years. If it means, that McBride is grabs a part of the future with Grimes and some of the other players, I wouldn't be surprised if Quickley is part of a move as well.
Certainly possible, man. Certainly possible. Appreciate that call, Shahid. Let's go to the phones, man. Let's go to area code 443. You're up next, man. What's your name? Where you calling from? Screen is
it's Ron from Baltimore.
Ron from B-More. Ron, what's going on, man? How you feeling, man?
Hey, man, always appreciate you giving me a few minute here.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure. Thank you for doing what you do, man. You really you saw the vision in Burks that I did.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
You know,
these guys, they don't see it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I know, man. You saw it in Burks. You saw that, well, he's out of position now. He can go back to the second unit and just cook.
Facts.
You know?
That's a fact.
Just leave my guy Burks alone, man. For the people out there that hate on him, just leave him alone, man.
Yeah.
I know he sometimes can get on your nerves, man, but the guy, tell you what, if you give him the ball in the fourth quarter, you have confidence that he's not scared. He's not scared of the bright lights. I appreciate that.
True story, man.
So Mitch has been setting some better screens. I'm proud of him. He actually said after the Pistons game, CP, that, I set some bad ones, I set some good ones, but I know I got to be better. And when he does do it, you see the difference between the room Kemba gets off a good screen. Not just even with Mitch, but anybody. Like, I'm happy for Kemba. A lot of young players should learn from him that, even if you come out of the rotation, you stay motivated, you stay ready. We're all rooting for him. I'm really happy for him. And I'll leave you with this, man. Randall's got to keep the braids. He's got to keep the braids. I don't get into people's personal lives. I know I was saying, should he get more sleep? I don't know what's going on. All I know is I saw the Julius I wanted, CP, last game. Keep the braids, and everybody, Alec Burks is Michael Jordan. You guys know it in your hearts. Even if you don't believe it, you got to just stay with it.
Hive, let's go. Burks Hive, let's go.
Right,
Ron from Beadmore, appreciate it. Great call as usual, man. Knowledgeable Knicks fan. Shout out my guy Ron from Beadmore. And speaking of Randall, though, he had a good game on Christmas for sure. But where's my graphic here? I can't find my graphic. But the chemistry between them seems to be improving for sure. And for Randall and Kemba, the net rating is up between them. 15.4 over the last 4 games. Over the first 18, they were a minus 13.5 net rating. A minus 13.5 net rating, man. So, certainly is worth watching. Small sample size these last 4 games, but certainly worth watching now. 15.4 net rating. And another stat of our stat of the week is Kemba Walker, past 4 games, averaging 15 drives per game versus 7.5 over the last 18, man.
Yeah, and I think the thing between them too is that their usage has gone up a little bit for Kemba as well. Kemba started off the season with like a 20% usage. He's now up to 25, and Julius was around that 25 to 26 range, and now he's up to 29. So you're starting to see that they're both being focused on when it comes to the offense and just allowing Kemba to orchestrate the offense, dictate how it's going to flow, push the pace instead of just letting Julius just bring up the ball at a slower pace and not really try to find anyone open in transition. Kemba being able to change gears on a diamond, dude, that has just been a game changer for this team. So, without Derrick Rose, we're missing a little bit of that transition scoring. Kemba being able to do that helps it make it easier for guys like Grimes. Speaking of which, I have their net rating for the small sample size they have for 20 minutes together. They got a 12.4 net rating. So leave them out there together because Kemba's looking for guys. Kemba's not, we saw that against the Hawks too. If Kemba's not feeling it, he knows okay, I'm not feeling it. Let me do what I can do to get everyone else open, whether it was finding Julius, finding Grimes, finding whoever, finding Mitch. That's the good thing about allowing Kemba to be who he is. And I think that's what we're seeing at this point. He's playing his game because at the beginning of those 18 games, he was playing a little timid. We thought that his knees were cooked, that he was like, oh, wow, he doesn't want to attack the defense at all. He's just pulling up from 3 and maybe do a little bit of driving, but was a little too scared to do it. And Randall, like you saw, he was just trying to figure out the flow of should I be aggressive? Should I let Kemba get this, the not stepping on each other's shoes or toes, whatever phrase you want to use. And they discussed that too over the last, I forget who reported on it, but now you're seeing that these guys are getting comfortable, and that's what these guys need to do from the get-go in order for this team to get going. So hopefully this translates into some success further down the line. As JD pointed out, this is a soft schedule for the Knicks. So this is a good time to see them continue to work on that chemistry, get more fluid, and and rack up some wins as well.
Yeah. And JD, I don't know if the 17 is sustainable. You know, is it just him just being rested or not? But it's clearly been the difference in you know the improvements of this offense, especially over the last 4 games, because you know this is what Tibbs wants. He wants his guards to be aggressive, wants them getting into the paint, and then you know kicking it out from there. And Kemba's been doing that well. Christmas Day he was on point. Obviously the 10 assists, triple double. So let's see what how things progress moving forward.
Yeah, and I think this could be a turning point in that relationship with Kemba and Julius. And the reason I say this could be a turning point because there's now a movement here with Kemba's play in the city and everyone kind of rallying behind him. And is also, we're talking about a veteran player with some cachet, as well as very likable player. You see his teammates enjoy playing with him. So does this now allow for a somewhat easier transition in terms of running the offense more through Kemba, and does Julius buy in? Because I thought, you know, before, Julius is a type of personality that it just seems like, unless it's like that veteran type player, the player that's respected, he would show a little bit more resistance to kind of giving the ball up. Does he do it now with Kemba's run? It looks like he has, and Kemba's play has demanded that. So I think this is what could be best for the team. On the flip side of that is, as we mentioned, how sustainable it is. You know, if he doesn't play against the Pistons, how will Julius play in that game? Does Julius revert back to, you know, Kemba's not here, so now it's my turn, you know? So that's why this whole thing is going to be interesting how it plays out. But I think if Kemba can continue to play this way, you could see here a changing of, you know, offensive system here in terms of, you know, running it more through the guards than it is to Julius.
But I mean, to me, this is how it should work, man. I'm not saying that you can't ISO Julius, right? Because he still has that skill set where he has his advantages depending on the matchup. And if we see, you know, his shots improving as it did in that Hawks game, I think we'll benefit there. But it's got to be mixed. It's got to be balanced where the guards can feed him. And we saw that a lot on Christmas Day, man. Them running those double pick and rolls, Julius popping out and getting some easy shots, wide open shots in rhythm. Those are the type of shot diet that I think he needs, rather than just having to put the whole offense on his back and, you know, holding on to the ball. And bad things just happen. You know, bad things are happening. So I think, you know, like I said, I think they just need to find that balance. But I like it so far, man.
Yeah, Julius just needs to be aggressive and just not think, because I think when he holds on to the ball, he can become that black hole that we hate. But he's just trying to like be too calculative in how he attacks instead of just going with the flow of the offense. If he has something wide open, pull. Stop doing the pump fakes and then trying to drive in. Yeah. Just take the open shot. You know, if a guy is closing out on you, then take it, then drive right in, blow past that guy, and then attract the defense and kick it out if you don't see you have a wide open layup. Or then if you have a mismatch while you're blowing by somebody, go attack them. And just so I make sure that I'm clear on like the usage, within the last 4 games, Julius is at 29%, Kemba's at 25%. For the first 18, it was Kemba was at 20, and Julius was around 25, 26. Just wanted to clarify that as well.
Good stuff, man. Shout out to Ron Hansley, 10 cents, a $20 super chat. He says, hit that thumbs up button for your squad. Congrats on hitting 45K. Evan Fournier is the new Andrea Bargnati. Shedding his contract for 2 second-round picks makes the front office look genius. And shout out to Ron, because Ron will be there at our Knicks versus T-Wolves event. So shout out to my guy, Ron Hansley. Always a good time. You guys are selling way too low on this guy. We have no wing depth right now. None. 0. We got none. We have RJ. We got Grimes. That's it. That's it. We don't have anything. I'm not here to tell you he's been playing great. He's been all right this last week or so. He's been all right, shooting 36% from 3 on the year so far. We have no wing depth. Put him on the bench. Bring Grimes in. You got your future with Grimes and RJ, and you got a nice shooter coming off the bench, a guy who can help you keep moving the ball. He'll shoot the rock for you. He's coming off against second unit players. Maybe he plays a little bit better. Maybe that's a better fit than what you've seen in the starting lineup with worse defensive players around him in Julius and Kemba, making the entire defense worse. Bring him off the bench. You bring Grimes in, balances the lineup a lot more. Maybe that allows Fournier to take off. I'm just saying, maybe.
I mean, listen to how you said it. He's shooting 36%. So shooting 36%. Yeah. We're gonna justify him going to the now he's this valuable asset shooting 36%. But we need that 36% so bad off the bench. Burks can't give us that 36%. Right.
Look,
with Grimes getting 36 minutes and McBride getting 28 minutes and you know what I mean, and RJ getting 32 minutes. We can't. The 18 minutes that he's going to bring off the bench are so valuable to CP that it's like, oh my God, 2 second-round picks and getting rid of that contract. That's I'm not entertaining that. I'd rather have him here for 18 minutes of terrible defense and 36% from three.
And to add on to JD's point, the Boston Celtics did trade 2 second-rounders for the guy. And use the trade player exception.
Yeah. And this show, we're not running this show all night, but I will be texting you after the show because you got me tight, CP. I can't believe you.
Look, he's not impeding McBride's path. He's not impeding McBride's path. You swap him and Grimes. You run the second unit, IQ, Burks, Fournier, Obi. I want Sims in there. I want Sims getting some burn. I like that. Balance it out. And you put in Grimes in the starting unit. It's a good balance right there.
And you can send Fournier with a stake out of here, all right? On that point, on that next point.
You got no wing depth, and you're looking to trade a guy for scraps. That's just crazy to me. That's just crazy to me. I don't know, man. That's just me.
Listen, hey, I'm team KnicksFanTV. But man, maybe there's something to that CAA stuff. Maybe I don't know, man.
Listen, man.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
I mean,
I'm not here to tell. I understand that the fit in the starting unit is questionable. You want to tell me the guy you saw in Boston taking it to his old team, 32 points, going at Jason Tatum on the defensive end, orchestrating the offense. You want to tell me that guy can't help this team win games if things is right? You're going to trade?
Yes.
You want to trade that guy for 2 second-round picks and some scraps?
For every 2 games there's 10 games.
If we're playing the Celtics for 82 games, absolutely, CP, 100%.
You guys are bugging.
For every 2 games that we get that, every 10 games we don't get that.
You guys are bugging, man. He just got here. Let it marinate, man. This is same. So see, look, this is the same mindset that put Kemba on the bench. Is you guys are the problem, man. This is the
He might need to get better.
This is the same mindset that got Kemba disrespected and put on the bench after 18 games.
We're putting Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier's name in the same stratosphere?
What do you mean?
It's not the same thing.
What do you mean?
The same thing. Because
you guys put Kemba on the bench. It was you that put Kemba on the bench.
It was us. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is CP trying to make a comeback.
CP, blink once if you're okay. Blink twice if Leon Rose is behind the teleprompter.
Listen, man. You put Kemba on the bench. I'm telling you.
As Charles Barkley would say, what does the eye test tell you? Yeah, analytics. Eye test tell you Fournier ain't it, man.
Hey.
You know how we talk slang. He ain't it.
Hey, what I saw in Boston, what I saw in Houston, I see a guy that can still contribute in the right situation.
Look, man, I was live at that Boston game, and even when Fournier was going off, I still didn't like the way he was going off. I was like,
yeah, that's because Julius was bumming it up. Fournier couldn't do everything. Fournier and Kemba were carrying the whole team. Julius was stinking up the joint.
That's a fact.
No, in all seriousness, he could obviously. I mean, you saw that second quarter, the way he finished, 10 points went off. Like when you're seeing that, it definitely helps the team. So he could definitely be a contributor. But under the scenario that we are discussing, in terms of someone tells me, "Here, take 2 second-round picks," it's a smart move. It's a logical move.
I don't see it, man. Let's get back to the phones. All right, let's go rapid fire here. Area code 631, you up next. 631, what's good?
What's good, CP? It's Dan from Long Island. Bro.
OG Dan from Long Island. What's up, Dan? How you doing?
yo, first, when are you going to bring that smoke? You've already killed Kellerman.
Yeah.
Right? You've already killed Rappaport.
Yeah.
When are you going to take down Agent Zero?
Oof. People have been asking about that, man. People have been asking me to bring the smoke to Gilbert Arenas. I might have to, man. I might have to. I gotta see. You know, I gotta see what's going on. But yeah, he might be next in my sights, man.
Just make sure Fournier is not the topic.
That cat, I gotta say, I didn't even know he was still around until he started tweeting at Knicks, and that's what these cats do. So yeah. I hate for you to give him light and to bring him, you know, a guy who played in teeny tiny markets who doesn't really have anybody, you know, paying attention to him, and you give him light. By the same token, all that slander's got to stop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's got to stop.
He's ridiculous, man. Clown show.
Listen, here's the thing that I'd like to get you guys with Randall, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, I don't understand. These guys watch tape, right? They sit with their coaches. Knowing what made him successful last year, I mean, what do you think is going on? Now, I know Ash the other night was saying that she knows somebody who says there's no static between Randall and Kemba.
Mm-hmm. But
Berman, you know, said something quite differently, that there might have been some beef there. So I don't know if there's problems there. But to me, to think about Randall, I don't understand. He's reverting back. He's not defending. He doesn't want to get into the paint at all. And I'm just wondering what you guys think is the reason for. He had a nice game on Christmas Day. I understand that, but I was in the Garden for the Wizards game, and that was just atrocious. And his body language is poor. So anyway, I was curious what you gentlemen thought. All right, guys, have a good night. Take care.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I mean, I think, you know, he said it during that press conference on Christmas Day where he was like, you know, the losing it gets to you, and I just think the pressure was cooking him, man. You know, the pressure to try to make this team work the way last year's team had that magic. The pressure that he's on signing the new contract and being the man on the team. I think it's a lot of that. You know, not knowing his fit in the offense, when he should take over, when he should be selfish or not. I think it's impacting him on both ends. His effort on the defensive end has been inconsistent at best. You know, lousy at times, lazy at times. So I just think all of that has you know, kind of hurt his production overall. But let's see what happens, you know. Christmas Day, he certainly seemed to be very confident from the opening tip. Can we see that 2 games in a row, 3 games in a row? And maybe Julius is back. Who knows? But let's see. Let's take it one day at a time.
Yeah, I think for the offensive standpoint, for when it comes to Julius, last season we saw him take a lot of mid-range jumpers.
Mm-hmm.
This season he hasn't been doing it as much, and he hasn't been getting to the spots that he loves as much, whether it's a straight lined up from the foul line, mid-range, or going right baseline jumper. He's been doing, you know, at the beginning of the season, we saw him do the dribble between the legs, trying to, you know, try to go off that way. And the weird part is that he's a lefty. He's using his right hand. So he'd have to bring that ball all the way back to his left hand. It wasn't just really, it didn't work for him. Something that he was doing against the Atlanta Hawks was going back to that mid-range game and really taking those tough shots that he was last season, as well as just having a good mix. He was taking the open threes, so he had to draw guys out. Then he was attacking the paint as well. Even though he didn't necessarily drive as much, he was still hitting the mid-range shots, which really opened up that game for him as well. This season alone, last season he was in the 75th percentile. Last season, shot 44% from long mid-range. Mm-hmm. And this season, that's where he usually likes to work, is he is shooting 32% from long mid-range. He's in the 47th percentile. And his shot it's down too. You know, all of last season he shot 312 from that long mid-range, and now at this season he's at 101. So he's kind of on pace to get to that point, but not really like what he did last season. Mm-hmm. So if he can get that mid-range game back and start getting to his actual spots and just make it simple. He doesn't have to do the dribble between the leg. He's not that guy. He's not Kyrie Irving. He's not going to pull up with a hezzy and take someone off the dribble. Just get to your spots, especially when he gets down low too. We see he's a really good finisher around the rim, attack around the rim as well, and just get those easy buckets and just play in transition, as we said, and just don't overthink it. Just play simple basketball. It's not that complex. I think that's the thing that he needs to do in order to get himself back on offense. And then once he gets back on offense, he'll be playing defense that we see, because then he'll be more engaged.
This is a big week for Julius. When you're looking at that schedule, and you want to be, you want to be recognized around the league as an elite player. Well, this is a week that not necessarily you pull your team on your back, but you definitely want to be a contributor towards a winning road trip. I mean, I'm telling you right now, if the Knicks are thinking of making any playoff push, you go 3-1 in this road trip at minimum.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm not saying 4-0 is because I'm gonna give the Raptors, who's been giving us some trouble. That's the last game of the road trip. Those last games, sometimes I'm not saying that teams wing it, but it's the last game, and you want to get home, and you could have a letdown. But at the end of the day, you also got to get payback, and I would like to think that we would be motivated to win that game as well. But you go 3-1 on this road trip at minimum, and I have high expectations for this team this week if they're thinking about being taken seriously in any shape, or form.
Got to take advantage. Got to capitalize, man, for sure. Got to capitalize. And you're right. Last game of the road trip is usually the hardest. It's when players, they want to go home. They're getting tired. Lack of focus. But as you said, they should have revenge on their mind, and they should want to win that game. I know I definitely got that game in my sights for this week for sure. OKC game could be tough too, man. Don't sleep on Shai Gilgeous and those boys. They always play, play hard. So can't sleep on that either. Shout out Danny Thomas, $15 super chat. He says 3-team trade. Philly gets Kemba, Fournier, and Bagley. Sacramento gets Simmons and Mitch, 2 first-round picks, and Dallas and Charlotte, and 3 second-round picks. Knicks get De'Aaron Fox and Matisse Thybulle. All right, so.
Well, CP doesn't want to hear about second-round picks tonight,
Danny
so I don't know if that's going to
Well, we talking about De'Aaron Fox here. Okay, that's something completely different. Completely different. All right, I'm not just bringing back a bag of basketballs. This guy's talking about trading and getting De'Aaron Fox and Thybulle back. You trading away Kemba, Fournier, Bagley to Philly. So he says Sacramento gets Ben Simmons and Mitch, 2 first-round picks via Dallas and Charlotte. So I guess those would be our picks.
Those are our picks. Yeah, those are our picks. We got the Charlotte 20. We got the Charlotte 19th this year if it conveys to being 19th or later, and we also got the Mavs first-round pick in the future too.
Wait,
who's Philly getting?
Wait, break down. He says Philly gets Kemba, 48, and Bagley. So now he's making Kemba back to All-Star. He's bringing Kemba back to All-Star form.
Philly would never. Daryl Morey would never in his life
for
do
Kemba,
that.
48, and Marvin Bagley. Probably 3 of the worst plays you could bring back.
So
to
let
Philly,
me get this
bro.
straight. Daryl Morey just held back for months on Ben Simmons. Yeah. And finally, breaking news, Shams and Woj.
Oh, man.
Finally, Ben Simmons is traded for Evan Fournier. You want to throw CP on that trade too? CP could go.
Oh, my God, man. Oh, man. That's hilarious.
That's not going to happen, man.
That's hilarious. Thanks for super chat, though, bro.
You want to throw a bunch of other first-round picks and some of the Knicks young players? Maybe.
Hey, we could always dream, man. Thanks for the super chat, though, Danny. Definitely appreciate it, man. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Let's get those likes up, people. Only 300 likes in the chat, man. This is Knicks Weekly, presented by Manscaped, CPJD, Alex Sotaros in here, the Stratocaster. Hit that like button. Let's get those likes up for real. All right, here we go. Back to the phones, area code 510. You up next, 510. What's going on?
What up? This is RCP. This is Eugene from the Bay Area, by way of Brooklyn.
Gene, what's good, man? Yo, Gene, you on a speakerphone? You sounded kind of far away.
Oh, hold on. Let me. All right, is that better?
Much better, bro. Perfect, bro. How you doing, man?
All right, I'm doing good. All right. Well, kind of good. After I heard what Tibbs said, I'm a bit upset. You know what I mean, I'm going to nickname Tibbs like Ray Charles Thibodeau, because how can you say, oh, Grimes, he can play D? Like, what have you been watching since preseason? Summer league? Like what? Like I don't understand that comment. I don't understand how it feels like he's just finding out that Grimes is a good player or a player at least that he's willing to give minutes to. That to me makes like 0 sense. So I don't understand Tibbs. He drives me crazy. But one thing I will say is I agree with JD that Fournier for 2, second rounds it's okay. I wouldn't do it. So I kind of agree with both of you. I would wait it out and see if I can get his value up. Yeah. And I'd rather get a player back that could provide some value if we can. And I think Fournier is bad this year, but he's not that bad. Like, he's playing terrible right now. But let's be honest. Like, look at his last year in Orlando. He averaged almost 20 and 24 and 3, right? And then the year before that, he averaged almost 19 points. So I don't think he is as bad as advertised because of how bad he's playing this year. So I think we wait it out. I don't know if we put him on the bench because I think you devalue him by doing that, and we may get less. So I think you keep him in the starting unit. But Tibbs has got to be smart. Don't play people for 46 minutes. Just say, hey, hold on. If you're playing well, I'm gonna give you some time. If you're not, I'm gonna bench you for somebody else. And I think that's the way we should do it. But I do have one question, and I'll let you guys go. Yeah. Now, don't kill me yet. Listen to it first. All right. What if we trade for Westbrook? Now, look, I don't want Westbrook. No. I don't want Westbrook. Look, listen to me. I don't want Westbrook. But not this year. If Julius Randle continues to play bad up until the trading deadline of next year, Westbrook only has 1 year left on his deal. We could give up. We can get off of Fournier, get off of Julius, take on Westbrook for only a half a year. Don't re-sign him. Please don't re-sign him. And that's our way to kind of start over if we don't want to keep investing in the Julius thing. So I just want to hear you guys' feedback on that. Look, once again, I don't want Westbrook, but it's a way for us to move on from Julius in a shorter time frame. What's your thoughts?
CP, are you willing to forgive? Are you willing to forgive Westbrook to what he did to you?
Oh man, and Westbrook killed me. Not really. I mean, I still ended up winning on my prize picks for Christmas Day. I went 4 out of 5. JD went 10 out of 10 on his 2 tickets. For some, I don't know. For some reason, I picked the over on 20.5 points of Westbrook instead of just going to LeBron James for over 29.5 or 28.5, whatever it was. So Westbrook cost me a shot at $200. And so for that reason, I don't want him anywhere near this team. I'm still pissed. I'm still tight. You know what I'm saying? I could have paid my light bill with that. But but Eugene is saying go get Brody to get Randall. But how much years left is on that Brody deal?
It'll be, I think, next year will be his last season on the contract.
So next season will be his last year.
We need a lot of first round picks coming from LA to even entertain that. In all honesty, they don't even have any. We need a lot of first rounders, and they don't have a lot of first rounders.
Gene, the tomatoes are flying. Gene.
He has a player option at $47 million next year, which he will obviously
take.
Anybody take it if he's cashing in. He's cashing in. But for all you Randall and Fournier haters, this is your chance to reset the wrongdoings of CAA. So you can't have it both ways, people. There's a lot of tomatoes going on in the chat. But yet, just 20 minutes ago, them same tomatoes was coming at me. So which one is it? You know what I'm saying? And I better not see Jay from Florida that throwing tomatoes and Ari. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Like I said, there's got to be a lot of draft capital, and the Lakers don't have that draft capital. There's no way am I seeing Russell Westbrook in an orange and blue jersey. Not happening. No.
You imagine Russell Westbrook missing those layups? At the Garden that he did against the Nets,
bro. He had some of the worst stretches in that fourth quarter.
He didn't go 4 for 20?
Yo, it was crazy. Yo, Al, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy, bro.
I was watching it because I played prize picks that night too. I had him on my ticket except for rebounds because the analysis was that I won't say where I read it, but when him and LeBron play, 81% of the time, he's under 10 rebounds a game. I was like, him and LeBron, easy money. Take the under. Nope. Decided to go off and get more than 10 rebounds. So, Russell, you could stay away from here too, man.
And I had the volume on blast, and people talk about the Lakers. They're a big market team and all that stuff. But I had the volume on blast, and they had a pretty long leash on Russell Westbrook. That's not happening here at the Garden.
No,
you know what I mean? Like you know, the Garden is a lot tougher environment to play in. So, and Westbrook is also a volatile personality. So I don't even know if that would even be a fit here. He might throw hands with a fan. You never know.
I mean, I already knew when he went to Lakers, they weren't doing nothing with that, man. I mean, that was a desperate move for them. They had to try to make it work. It's been a complete disaster.
4 for 20 from the field.
Yeah. I had to sit there and watch all of it.
From 3.
I had to sit there and watch all of it because every single one of them half of them were bunnies that could have got me closer to my over, but it just wasn't meant to be, man. It wasn't meant to be. Still won some money that night, but yeah, man. Shout out to Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com, promo code KFTV. We got 1,000 people in the chat, so yeah, like I said, man, make sure you guys go to Prize Picks. Support our sponsor, man. Enter promo code KFTV for a 100% match on your deposit of up to $100. So yeah, so I think that's a resounding no on the Brody move. Gene. And Gene's in the chat. Gene, a lot of tomatoes flying at you, man. We could have made some ketchup, man. Are you still on the line, Gene? You still on the line, bro?
Oh yeah, I want to hear why. Like I get it that we don't want Russ. I get it, he's bad, and I agree with you. But if it's a way for us to get off of the contract, it's not like we're starting over with Russell Westbrook. Yeah. We're starting over with him for a half a season, and then you get rid of him, and you just don't have those contracts on your books for another 3 years after that. So to me, I don't see the negative to it. I get it. Russ is a bad player. I don't want him. But the reality is, I don't understand why not for a half a season if you can get off of Julius and Evan Fournier. That's all I'm saying.
And even Ari's disagreeing. Al, go ahead, Al.
And I just wonder how you get, like, the question is, like, how are we only having him for half a season? That means you're guaranteeing that we're going to be able to trade him down the line. I don't know how you're able to trade that. I don't know who wants to take Russ. Like, it depends on how he's playing. So you're now, 1, taking a gamble that he's going to fit here in New York. 2, we need shooting on this team. He doesn't add that. Yeah. He's just a high volume. If you want anyone to have touches on this team, say goodbye to that. That man's like close to 30% usage. So no one's RJ wouldn't get touches. You want Grimes to get touches. They're all afterthoughts after Russ is touching that ball for most of the game. I'm a hard pass on that. I don't even know who would want to take Russ, especially when you're watching. He's with LeBron James. He's with LeBron James right now. If he can't figure out what LeBron James, there's just no hope. Okay,
even Jay, that right now. Even Jay from Florida is not with it.
I mean, if
very interesting.
Listen, if we over here talking about Randall, and Randall being an alpha, and Randall starting young players' growth, and Randall this and Randall that, what do you think Westbrook's gonna do to these young guys?
Yes.
Like, Westbrook is Randall on steroids. Like, he believes he's still that type of guy, and at this point with this Knicks roster, any addition to this roster, I'm looking at how it affects the young core of this team. If it positively affects him, I'm for them.
Let's
if it
look
doesn't,
at the contract.
I'm good.
Let's look at the contract. So it is $44 million for this year, and then a $47 million player option for the year after that.
Here goes CP. Let's look at the contract. Now you're gonna entertain it.
Let's look at the contract. No. See, here's the thing. This is for all the get rid of Randall, get rid of Fournier people. And my guy Eugene is giving you that path. He's giving you that path to say, are you taking a year and a half of Westbrook to get rid of 4 years of Julius and 3 more years of Fournier? That is what he's saying. So speak up. I want to hear from Jay from Florida. I want to hear from Ari on this. This is what y'all want. My guy Eugene is putting it on the table right now. And now everybody say, whoa. Hold on here. You can't have it both ways. Can't have it both ways, man. So, hey, that's all I'm saying, man.
No. Just no. Just keep that man far away from this team.
All right,
far away.
Let me get to some more calls. G, appreciate the call, man. All right, let me get some more calls. Area code 267. What's good? Who is this?
Yo, what's good? It's Angel from Philly. Y'all know what it is.
Angel, what's good, bro?
What's good, bro? So, 3 quick points because I know you guys got some extra callers. But that Westbrook thing, I think I'm gonna just throw up just thinking about that. So that's a hard pass for me. But CP, I agree with you. Do not trade Fournier for 2 second-round picks. And the reason why, and I'm going to help you with your argument, right? Because, first of all, look at what we're complaining about. We're complaining about that Ted doesn't play the young guys, right? And to be quite honest, we have enough draft picks as it is. And let's be honest, we're not getting no superstars right now, so why do we have all these picks? And even if we made that trade, it doesn't make sense from this standpoint. Look at how we're complaining now about Tibbs not playing the young guys. So you're going to draft 2 more second-round kids and not play them? What's the point of that? You feel what I'm saying? So,
well, I think JD's premise is to free up that salary. Ultimately just to free up that salary and cut your losses.
He could still shoot. Look at how he's been playing the last couple of days. I'm not saying it's perfect, but teams are going to want that shooting. So why not us keep that until we get something more valuable than just picks? Now, if you give me a solid player, then I'm willing to listen to it. But I'm not just trading him for second-round picks for players that we're not going to play. I'm just not doing that. And to be honest, when it comes to, like a superstar, and I'll be honest, we have to follow the path of Brooklyn and Golden State. Build our core, build our young players, and then get superstars in free agency because ain't nobody going to want to get traded here. And if I'm the Knicks, I'm not making a trade like how we did Melo and we give up all our assets and then all we have is Julius Randle and whoever wants to get traded here. So I'm staying with the patient course, to be honest. That's just my honest opinion. And then hopefully if we do make the playoffs this year, then you could build that, reputation like, hey, the Knicks are a consistent, playoff team. Now let's go to New York and let's go build on what they're doing. So we just got to stay patient with the process. And, like I said, I agree with UCP. Don't trade him for 2 second-round picks because he's been balling. I'm not saying it's perfect. Yeah. Maybe put him on the bench. Give Grimes, some time. These next 2 months is really important, with Derrick Rose being out, that we play the young guys. So it forces Tibbs' hands to play the young guys. And, I just want to see where it goes, man. But we got to think positive, man. Because look at how many picks we got, and, we're not making, no serious trades. So why get 2 more extra picks? For what? Ain't nobody coming here unless we build our reputation and become more consistent. So let's just stick with the process, y'all. But as always, fellas, y'all have a good night. Happy New Year. And we're going to get that W tomorrow. So, JD, I know you don't agree with my pick, but I want my burger tomorrow. Y'all have a good one.
Let's go.
The Gold Simp. I'm out.
Shout out to you. Definitely.
All right, let's wrap this up with King Deej on the Discord. What's good, bro?
What's good? Orange and blue, run it up. Listen, I wasn't gonna call because this is the weekly. I don't really got to call and chime in about this, but then I heard Gene talk about Brody, and I was like, that is literally like, okay, I get it, but I don't get it because that is literally the last trade of trades in the entire season that we should do. I'd rather see Ben and Randall than Russell, because you talk about we would have Russ and he would miss Obi on a fast break because my man is trying to go 1-on-3 on a fast break, and he'll take a bad jump shot because he's just Brody. Like, sorry, Gene, but don't do that, bro. The reason why the Lakers are struggling is because of Brody and because they all in.
But again, in fairness to him, he's not looking at Brody as a guy that can help his team. He's looking at Brody as a guy that can help you clear those contracts faster. That's what he's looking at.
I get that too, but what's the if you're doing that way, then I might as well go get John Wall. Like, at least John Wall's gonna pass the ball to people. He's making $40+ million. Yeah, and he's like, I'm not getting Brody so he could just be a black hole. I'm not doing that. That's Super Saiyan Goku Randall. Like, I'm not doing that. Yeah, but listen, everybody's talking about all these trades ideas, and like, where I'm at, free law firm, but he doesn't play the kids. There's a man in Atlanta, and I was saying this in the chat. I was going back and forth with a bunch of people, but There's a man in Atlanta that's going to be the odd man out. And the reason why he's the odd man out is because they paid Bogey, Kevin Herter, Trae Young, and then they just invested in Sharif Cooper and Jalen Johnson. And that man's name is Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish. He's available. Angel, I hear you about the picks. Or you don't want to hoard all these picks, and you're right. They're not drafting 6 kids in the next 2 years. They're not doing that. We already got 8. So we're not doing that. So this is how I get better. This is how when I talk about trading, this is how I'm talking about. This is when you could add a Cam Reddish and give up one or two of those picks. If you got to include Evan and some second rounders, what's the big deal? Like, you guys want to hoard picks.
Yeah. Well, they're not looking for salary. That's the whole thing why they're trying to trade Reddish.
Right, you know right. And that's when you call. Listen, the trade deadline, for better or worse, is going to be active because a lot of these teams, they stuck in the mud and they all want to get either better or they want to get worse. That's when you call a third team and you get that third team to take Ev's contract while you send the picks to Atlanta to get Cam. This is how you get Terrence Ross in the building. It's easy moves like this. I don't know why everybody makes it sound like it's so difficult to just think about it. But going forward for this team, man, I said it after the Christmas game. I'm just talking about this team right now. They got a lot of winnable games. CP, you said nobody from Minnesota's playing. I don't
know what tomorrow's going to bring. I'm not sure who's on their way back. I got to take a look at it. But tonight, their whole starting 5 is out.
Right. And so they should, praying to God, they should win that game in Minnesota. But they got to take advantage. Look, listen, January is a big month for this Knicks team. They're not doing nothing until February, until the day the trade deadline comes. That's February 8th. January is a big month for it, man. So whether they win or lose out this month is going to determine what they do in the future. Whether y'all believe it or not, it's just going to be what it is. If they keep winning, they're going to probably keep it the same like how they did last year. If they keep losing, these vets, they're going to get them out of here for reasonable deals. I'm telling y'all, that's just good business. So I don't know why everybody's not understanding that. And I see people saying Reddish is mad inconsistent. That's what kids do. They're inconsistent, but he shows you flashes. I'm in the chat. So don't say he's inconsistent when my man is already better than the person that he came in with from Duke. I'm sorry. He's better than RJ. He's better than RJ, and I'm an RJ supporter. He's better than RJ. The reason why they're not keeping him is because they invested in Hunter. They invested in Trae Young. They invested in Bogey.
Yeah,
they invested
they're not
in
going to pay him.
Yeah, they invested in all these wing players, and they just drafted Jalen.
Yeah,
for Florida, that's his man.
He's available. He's definitely available.
So listen, I don't know what y'all want, man. Y'all want to get better, but y'all don't want to invest in getting better. Y'all want to trade for stars, but y'all want to ship the house out for stars that don't want to play with kids. I'm trying to give y'all reasons to get better. That's what I'm saying. I'm out. Hopefully they take advantage of this month. It's a big month. I'm circling this whole month, and I hope for once, because we keep on playing the Raptors after my birthday. My birthday's on New Year's Day.
Okay.
We are like 0 for 7 against the Raptors. After I think the last year was before New Year's Day. They got smoked in Tampa. So I just need them to win against the Raptors because for some reason they always lose after my birthday. I'm out, man. Peace and love.
Peace, King Deej. Rate that call in the chat, man. I'm seeing there's a lot of polarization in the chat, man. He's a very polarizing call. Rate that call in the chat, man. 1 being trash, 5 being facts. Where do you stand on King Deej's call? I see CP's Manscaped Razor says that's an awful take.
He might have touched the nerve with the RJ hive.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he triggered the RJ hive a little bit. Just a little bit. I think he insulted them just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. What did he drop? 32 tonight, Cam Reddish? Did I read that? Did he drop 32? He dropped 18 against Philly. Didn't do anything against us. Where'd I get the 32 from? I thought he did.
Dropped 33.
Tonight. Yeah, tonight against the Bulls.
He was 8 of 13 from 3. 33 points, 4 rebounds.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, I trade for Cam Reddish.
But they took that out.
Yeah, he did.
With Trae Young.
Yeah. No, of course. You look into that, man. He's available. He's 100% available. You look into it. You got a bevy of draft capital. He's a nice young player that could grow with your core. Now you're gonna have to pay him, along with paying RJ. You know, they're due for their rookie extensions. So that's another thing. You're gonna have to pay him. So very interesting, that whole Cam Reddish dynamic, and you know, how the Knicks would play that if they would get him, and if they would trade if they would pay both he and RJ. Yeah, That would be.
I mean, he was the guy that I mentioned on the offseason show where we talked about wings, like you know, who we would target. And at that point, I had mentioned I would be willing to trade a draft pick for him. And then now he's playing well, and so you have to believe that his value is rising. And I know the Hawks are hesitant because Reddish is that type of player that if you just give up and you just trade him just for the sake of trading him because of the whole logjam thing, this guy might go somewhere and blossom. So I think they're holding his, you know, they want to hold on to him as long as they can to see if maybe, and this is why you do that, because look at the Hawks now, right? The Hawks are underachieving again. So what happens now as you get closer to the deadline? This organization has to make decisions now, just like the Boston Celtics have to make decisions on, you know what, maybe we got to pivot. Maybe we should be, you know, dealing with a bigger trade or something like that. So this is why the East standings is very interesting, because you see a lot of parity, and some teams that everybody told me were going to be taking the next step this year are not doing that. And so it's going to be an interesting trade deadline.
Yeah, for sure. I think for Cam Reddish, like obviously, like CP talked about it, and you mentioned JD, like young player, gonna have to give up some draft assets to get them. And you talk about contracts that the Hawks already signed, whether it's Herter and so forth. You know, they could also pivot and try to move one of the larger contracts if they want to keep Cam Reddish too. Like that's another way they could go if they see that, hey, he's a more valuable wing than Kevin Herter or Hunter, you know. But if, you know, it's always a question of like, what do you like, how much you have to give up for him? What would that trade look like? Do the Hawks even want to do business with the Knicks? Because now we're rivals. So that'd be interesting if they wanted to do that. So I would like to see Cam Reddish on the team, but there's also like just outside of his player and asset wise, does the team even want to do dealings with us right now based on, you know, the rivalry that is coming up?
Yeah. Hey, if the price is right, why not? Again, it just depends on the price, man. Absolutely.
Are you trading Fournier for McBride if McBride wasn't on the Knicks?
Am I doing what now?
Are you trading Fournier for McBride if McBride wasn't on the Knicks? Knowing what you know now of McBride, you doing that trade?
I'm doing that trade.
You just won't give up.
No. It's not. See, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. If I'm the Knicks right now, I'm the Knicks right now, of course, in a bubble, yes, in a bubble. Are you talking about would I trade him 1-for-1?
Right.
No, I would in a package, yes. But I'm saying
wait, you wouldn't trade 48 for McBride 1-for-1?
It depends on what you need. It depends on what you need.
Just forget everything. Just player to player.
Yeah.
Are you trading Fournier to get McBride?
1-for-1?
1-for-1. Forget contracts. Just player to player.
Oh my God! It depends on what you need, man. It depends on what you need on your team. It depends on what you need on your team.
Are you trading Fournier for Jericho Sims?
No. Why would I do that?
Because my whole point with that is the whole theory of second round picks. Those are the second round picks you got on the Knicks that fans want to play for.
My trade
and they're second round picks. So these are potential players. When everybody wants to talk about Walt Perrin, that's why you trust your front office, because they can get you pieces. Now, I obviously understand you can't draft everyone, but maybe when you acquire assets, it allows you to maybe overpay for a player because you have assets, just like OKC. OKC's not drafting their 50 picks, but they might do an unprecedented trade at some point and give up 8 first-round picks for a certain star because they have that ability to. So to me, that's why you do it. You have what it looks like to be a nice front office that can draft. If I can get more assets, I'm doing it. We got McBride out of it. We even got Rokas, who people are thinking might be a future rotational player.
He could. Right now, and shout out to my guy Steve Verner, $20 super chat. He says Fournier.
I told you, I'm texting you after the show.
Version of Burks. Fournier is a version of Burks. He's being used wrong. Check his Orlando Boston Nuggets tapes. He needs the ball. CP voice. It's a different role for him on this team.
Yeah, he needs a role. He went 9 for 28 this week for 32%. Let's move that to the bench. Fine.
Move it to the bench. Move it to the bench. Bring Grimes in. Tibbs just said he loves Grimes. Start the guy that you drafted. bring Grimes in, you bring Fournier off the bench. He's another one that seems like the spotlight's a little too heavy for him in New York. I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Bring him off the bench. I bring him off the bench. But to say, would I trade him for McBride right now? It depends on what we need. Right now, we need wing depth. I need wing depth. Give me another wing out there that's beastie.
Oh, man.
Give me another wing out there that's beastie.
We need point guard defense, too.
Yeah,
we also need like a point guard for the future. We're not relying on Kemba and D Rose for the long term.
You're gonna say you confident that McBride's a point guard of the future? I don't know. It's still
I'd rather take the gamble on McBride than keep Fournier for 3 years and just, hey, we have a rotational role player. I'd rather take that gamble.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you need proper context. That's all I'm saying. You need proper context. On this
I hear what
team,
you're saying.
on this roster, you need proper context.
I hear, but in a vacuum, I'm doing it. I'm just taking the pride. Like now for Jericho Sims, centers personally, my position on centers is that you can always find a center.
You can
but
always
for a point
find
guard,
a center, man.
I will gladly
center, bro.
For a team that's been in dire need of a point guard, I will gladly take McBride for Fournier in a vacuum.
No, I do.
10 out of 10.
And by the way,
yeah,
he's already been traded for 2 second-round picks because when the Celtics traded him,
he did.
When the Magic traded him to the Celtics, they got 2 second-round picks and a trade exception out of it. So this can actually happen.
Yeah,
and it's already happened.
I would trade McBride for Fournier right now. But again, it depends on what you have and what you need. It depends on what you have and what you need, man. That's a fact. That is a fact. Absolute facts, man. Depends on what you have and what you're looking for. Yeah.
Come through January 18th. You get to see this all play out live action.
Live and direct, man. We'll do a live debate.
By the way, guys, if you don't see me on KnicksFanTV for the next week, you know why. I'm just putting it out there.
Hey, man. This is Knicks Weekly, man. Got to keep it interesting. As always, great show, fellas. Great show. To the chat, had over 1,000 people in here. Remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Support our sponsors, man. We told you about Prize Picks. We'll be back at it tomorrow night with our Prize Pick selections. I know for sure I'm not picking Russell Westbrook anymore. That's a fact on Prize Picks. But great show, Al. Great show, JD. Also, Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com, fellas. Enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping on your order. That's always the deal for our viewers. So like I said, man, support our sponsors and you'll be supporting us as well. Also, remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the major podcast platforms. So you have no reason to miss it, man. If you miss it in video, you can always catch it on podcast format. So that's the story there. Let me make sure I got all the super chats before we wrap up. Salute to, I think I got everything. Salute to Tony Sled. $5 super chat, Canadian super chat. He says, I love the show, love the energy. Can you speak on the guard situation a bit? It's not normal to have this many point guards and shooting guards, in my opinion, and sacrifice size indeed. Well, it's you know, obviously we have the depth there. I mean, but you got a lot of temporary pieces. You know, I see Kemba as a temporary piece, stopgap piece. I see Rose as a stopgap piece. It's gonna come down to what do we have in you know, Grimes to me is a mainstay. What do we have between McBride and Quickly? Which one of those guys can emerge as a potential point guard of the future? Is he on this team? Is it Rokas? You know, is it Rokas over there playing in Spain right now? So I think, look, I think the depth is fine. As you see, it's playing itself out with Rose being out now. You had Kemba benched, so you had an opportunity to see McBride. You have an opportunity now to see Quickly with more responsibility at the point. I think it'll all work itself out, and within the next year or two, you'll see Quickly and McBride get the reins. You know, get the reins. Fellas, anything else?
It depends on the situation. You have to put context on it. So make sure that we make sure we put that as a soundbite. Depends on the situation.
Oh my God!
You have to.
Can we get that? Can we get that a T-shirt? Context. We gotta get that a T-shirt. It depends, right? We don't need that.
We don't
CP's like-
need that, man.
Oh man.
Listen, man.
Man. I'll say the one thing I'll say on the point guard situation, the guard situation is that unlike when we had Fizdale here his last season, where we had like a lot of guards that you didn't know who was going to take the reins. This is a little bit more straightforward. You know, as you said, CP, Derrick Rose, Kemba, they're stopgap options. We have McBride quickly. You have Grimes. You see that's the future. So unlike when we had Alonzo Trier, you had or even Emmanuel Moody, you just had Dennis Smith Jr., just a bunch of guys who you had no idea what was going on. Yeah, this is a little bit more straight line direct. It's just Tibbs' mindset is that he wants to groom them, slowly raise them up, and then let them go.
It's facts. JD, any more? That's it? Any more takes on the point guard situation?
It depends on the situation.
And on that note, see you guys tomorrow night, man. Knicks versus Timberwolves. Post-game live, #1 show for the fans by the fans. I'm putting in the chat once again where you can get your tickets to the Knicks versus Timberwolves January 18th KnicksFanTV event. So make sure you guys join us for that. And yeah, man, great show, everybody.